What's your topic?
What do you want to bring?
I mean, we could do the banned book list. We could do the situation with Gucci.
We do some dancing with that.
What is this?
It's 22 caliber. Just happen to have a couple of those in my pocket.
That's now your fingerprints on it.
Right. As soon as I was like,
got you. Hold on,
Damn
man.
it.
That ain't funny. That shit ain't funny.
That was a rookie mistake.
That shit ain't funny.
No.
Shooting in McHenry.
Right?
Yeah. I gotta hang a banner.
All of a sudden, a suspect.
Need the Hilti gun, baby.
It's got a hood on.
Right.
I love that show when you guys are talking about it. It's
Gotta get into the road. It gets full force.
he's on a roll.
That dance move could only mean one thing. Welcome to Bridging Civil Tension here at 21 Cents. Hello. Of course. Bridging Civil Tension brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Let's Stay with Fantasy Factory this morning because it's a romantic weekend. Might as well go over, get a couple toys, get some lotions, maybe some edible underwear. Anyway, Fantasy Factory, Henry, Illinois, 815-385-7399.
Mama watches the show.
Mention Bridging Civil Tension, 10% off this weekend at Fantasy Factory. Check them out at www.fantasyfactorymchenryil.com. And if they ask for what is normal in that store, you get 20% off. Of course, Bridging Civil Tension, where we think that it's better to build the bridge than to blow one up. Let's talk. Let's meet in the middle, go our separate ways if we disagree, or hold hands and skip merrily across. This is Phil Wallace. He is entrepreneur, author, just all-around good guy, a trainer, one of my best friends. I absolutely love this guy. He is awesome at what he does. And of course, I'm Kent, and this guy over here,
the legend,
the man, the myth. They call him Coach. I love it when you call me Coach Pa. Oh, raise your hands. Oh, never mind. All right,
Coach Papa in the house.
Biggie, we miss you, Biggie. So, for all of our white friends, that was
Christopher Wallace selection from Christopher Wallace.
That's right. So today. We're going to shift directions. I had something up there, but we're going to come back to that because we're going to try to open up maybe a series because we've got a good friend, Dr. Freeman, who has given us a textbook to read that will help us with some critical thinking.
Yeah.
Right. And then we'll have he and his co-author on because I think it's important. But There are a few books out there right now that are being canceled, right? Because of nudity, the N-word. And these are classic books. What we would consider quote unquote classics have been in
education
at the educational realm for years, right? Since decades.
I mean, To Kill a Mockingbird is
To Kill a Mockingbird, right? Of course, a while ago, Tom Huckfin and Tom Sawyer got pulled because of the N-word,
right?
And the N-word again being Norwegian.
Normal.
Yeah.
Neverland,
right? So what I mean, The View. Right. They were talking about this, right? And I've not read Maus, Maus, right?
Do you know? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
So I was curious when they said the book was banned for nudity because I'm like, it's a book.
I know. I thought the same thing.
It's like, it's just
that's very descriptive.
Very descriptive. Like these are the same people who read 50 Shades. Anyway,
right.
So it's a cartoon.
Yeah. Turn your mic a little bit to you.
It's a cartoon where they're drawing mice.
Not people. So we got a naked mouse.
Someone actually was like, this is the picture of the page of the nudity.
Yeah.
it's a mouse. So it's Tom and Jerry.
Here, I'll see if I can pull it up. You keep talking.
Is Jerry the mouse flashing me?
Right?
Seeing as winky.
Like, there's a whole bunch of naked animal cartoons all over Cartoon Network. We have no problem.
I mean, Winnie the Pooh runs around with no pants on.
no pants.
And that's why they call it Winnie the Pooh. And if you're running around with just your t-shirt on.
These are the same kids who play Grand Theft Auto. These are the same kids who know most of any movie that has action and shooting and all that stuff. They're all for, but they can't see a naked mouse drawn to learn history. I struggle with that.
That would skew their perception.
I would skew that perception. They would be destroyed.
Yeah.
Diluted if not the lyrics that they listen to, not the video games they play, not the shows that they watch.
Right.
If a naked mouse ended up on their screen.
Yeah. So I've
Looks
got
like
this is the cover. This is the cover of the book. I'll flash up there. If you are listening, what I'm doing right now
Is he flashing?
is I'm pulling up the
Doing
book, the cover of the
on the
book,
air.
MAUS, by Spiegelman, Art Spiegelman. And again, I haven't read this, but it's obviously about the Holocaust, and you'll see a swastika there, and a cat that looks a little bit like what would be Hitler, right. But now that's it. Now let me see if I can find a few other pics so that you kind of understand what this book looks like and is about, right?
So what is the general premise?
This is it, right?
It's like a German Hitler Nazi book, depicting mice as, I guess, the Jews, cats as the Nazis, and kind of telling the story of history through artistic drawing.
Correct.
To not necessarily not make light of, but like to give a different look of the situation.
So you see, it's a black and white cartoon,
right?
What we would call a comic.
A comic,
yeah, not even a cartoon,
right?
So it's black and white. So the nudity, and then I don't see. I don't know if you can find a quick picture, but I don't. You're talking about a naked mouse.
I was gonna say, well, how can a mouse be naked anyway?
Of course, folks, we do have a live studio audience today, and they're asking a question. Asking what? Say that a little louder for us, ma'am.
How can a mouse be naked? Well, when they have fur, I mean, how can it be considered naked?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless they shaved it.
No, I didn't even know this book was a book that was in the curriculum.
Right.
I had never heard of it till they
brought it up on.
Till I watched that YouTube.
Right. So I feel like I missed out on that one, but like I'm.
Hey, Bree, how are you?
Coach.
Looks like a Hey Arthur. Right. Yes, kind of, right?
And we had no problem with
You're
it.
not finding any naked picture of a mouse.
I'm not.
So nudity. So this again, and where it goes back to, The View was talking about this.
Right.
And the question was, this is getting banned because of nudity, but not the murder of hundreds of thousands of people. So we feel at this point, mouse nipples are more offensive than killing people. Would that be correct?
That would be absolutely correct.
Right. So help me understand that. Now, here's what people will say. Oh yeah, so they're even showing mice hanging in there. Coaches found a couple of. Here, I'll take it, put it up there. We'll just put it up there, right? Yeah. Look, it's just dig in there.
Yeah.
See?
So we're okay with that.
We're okay with it.
That wouldn't be traumatizing for a kid, but the nipples of the hanging mouse would be the issue.
Now, the question that I have would be, I don't know. Do mice have like 8 nipples, like a dog?
They have 2.
Mice have 2 nipples. How do you know that? Did you just
Being a farm boy,
I don't want to know how you know that.
these
Maybe
things.
You said that a little too quick, Papa.
You sure did. Right?
I could go into the whole anatomy, but
Yeah.
you don't want me to.
Hey, John. Jan. Good morning, Jan. Sorry,
Yeah,
Mom.
my aunt.
Hi. Sorry. Glad you're here. It's just I was looking at the wrong line on my glasses when I read that. I was like, wait, that's Mom over there. All right. So here's the deal. A lot of this show, we have talked about history being taught from the victor's point of view, right? So here's a unique way, perhaps, and I haven't read the book. Okay.
You know.
The picture?
Yep.
All right.
And it's the one that they literally say this is the what.
I haven't read the book. I'll grab it. I haven't read the book, but it's a different way, a comic type of way of perhaps teaching history, not using real people, which might have been a bit too gory, perhaps for the school. I don't know.
Right.
You tell me. Let me find this.
Well, they're trying to soften the blow. I'm sure is what the thought is. Let's teach this without showing people. Who cares about a cat killing a mouse? Right. But we'll use that metaphorically as. And I, when I was company commander, I spent time in Germany and spent a day at Dachau concentration camp.
Right.
So I've been there. I've seen the pictures. I've walked the land.
Wow.
And what this is doing is trying to educate people without educating them. When you see pictures of a real person in a bathtub with electrodes being put into it, and the experiment was to see how long it would take to kill a person using electrodes in a bathtub, and these pictures, and dropping people out of airplanes to see how the things that they did, nudity, really.
And that's a jail mouse.
Yeah.
How
That's the nudity.
And I'm saying this with respect to everyone in education. I remember the things that I was taught in high school, and I remember the things that, in a lot of cases, how little of it actually applied to everyday life.
Amen.
Yeah.
And when we have an opportunity to at least educate, to have people get an understanding of things that actually happened that made an impact so that they don't happen again, why are we banning it?
Right.
Or in this situation, if you don't want someone saying N-word, Jim, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah.
And even if, and this kind of happened in my school, but even if a kid is saying that in the classroom, at least he's reading that in context that this word is not a good word and not acceptable to say.
Right.
So at least that's a reminder that it's not cool to say this casually, because I feel like a lot of people, for whatever reason, have gotten way too casual with that word. And so at least makes it, if you're sitting next to me in school and we're in a lit class and you read and you're like in gym, you're gonna think twice, hopefully, right? Yeah. Before you're laughing in the locker room, calling some new kid the N-word.
Yeah.
Boy, you would hope.
Boy, you would hope.
Boy, you would hope.
That second coffee.
But so the interesting thing is, how do you take it? All right, you grew up in a predominantly white, suburban town, and those books were not banned.
Crystal Lake. It was like 5 of us at Lundahl and 8 of us at South.
We had one in Johnsburg.
Yeah, Johnsburg. I would. It was like Noah's Ark. It was like 2 per level.
Do you hear what we had one?
We had one.
It was that song.
Crazy.
Why does that come out of your mouth?
One is the loneliest.
We can't say. It was interesting. We were 99.9999% white, and we had one African American family in the school district. Instead, we had one.
I remember when they showed the stats, and it was like 0.8 black people, and I was from Florida. I was like, "What is 0.8 black people? What do you mean? How do we?"
He's got a white arm.
A midget.
We can't even have a whole one.
There's a midget.
Right.
So how did you? Those books were not banned when you were growing up. How did you take it? How did from your? Because I don't know. Right. So from yours.
And that even again, like I was saying, like the Huck Finn part, like I saw people at least be considerate. Who wants to read the next paragraph out loud? And the kid would pause. And I'm not going to say that word. It makes cool.
That's fine.
Perfectly okay. I didn't mind. Like a Lord of the Flies. I didn't mind. To Kill a Mockingbird, right? Because you're having those situations about it.
I didn't like redheads after Lord of the Flies.
Oh, I hear you. And I've been married to one for 46 years. Right. Still scared of her.
Right.
I didn't mind To Kill a Mockingbird because people understood accusations towards African. Well, no, they didn't.
Sorry, don't button miss that.
But at least it brought the conversation, and you can have the dialogue. Okay, so in this situation, how did it make you feel when this individual was able to accuse this individual, and the whole town was getting ready to attack this person based off this one allegation, only because of the
Oh.
I think that's a healthy conversation
Right.
to have in today's era.
Well, here's how it felt. Let's go to breakfast on Sunday morning. You'll see. You'll feel
see.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting thing. And is it that offensive now, right? In today's society where, and again, I would go back to challenge that there are other great classical books, perhaps, that don't cover this, right, or don't have that vocabulary, right. However, again, I should not tell a lie, and this is history.
Right.
Why do we have this book? Well, we've always had this book. Well, is it better to say, you know what, we're not banning this book or canceling it, but we feel that perhaps this book is a better book for this part of, it's still a classic. It just doesn't have that in it.
But if one of the things I learned in the military is if we don't study history, we are doomed to repeat it.
Right.
If we don't study history, we're doomed to repeat it. If we don't study these, if we don't understand the context in which Huck Finn was written, if we don't understand the context of Mouse, then we're only looking at some surface issue.
Right.
We're losing the whole.
Oh.
Yes.
So if we don't study history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Right.
Well, let's talk about that.
Let's do.
What part of history?
Any part of history.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in now.
Okay. So here's the deal. Hey, we're studying history. This is the way it's done. Oh, but what
I see
about
where
the
he's
other
going.
side of this? What about the other side of this coin?
Let me see if I can get this.
What? I'm just
Because history is written by the victor.
Shayna, have any of you read Animal Farm? It was required in my day, and is a chilling
Love that
story
book.
that
Yeah.
I appreciate more today. What's wrong with encouraging kids to ask questions for clarification?
Yeah.
Hi. I don't know what Animal Farm is.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
It's amazing. So is it Russia? Is that what kind of the context of? Because
I believe so. It was.
Now, I want everybody to understand. Let's get this right. It very well may have been one that we were supposed to read.
right.
Kent didn't read back then,
I understand.
so I probably read the book cover and the cliff note to get past the test, but I don't remember that book at all.
It's well written, very creative. So the animals of the farm, and there's one general who's a pig.
Yep.
And he's telling the other animals, let's build this barn to have our independence from the people.
I said what?
But what he's doing is he's having all the pigs kind of live high on the hog, right?
Pun intended.
Right.
And all the other animals are just workhorses.
Yeah.
Right? Another one.
Yeah.
Right. And they're building for this place. Basically, the pigs get to eat all the food that's being harvested and cropped and all this stuff. Everyone else is working themselves tired. If there's an issue, the pig will make it so that the horse has to go to the butcher, blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
And it's basically the pig's way of taking over, but it's like a Stalin type of
gotcha.
depiction. Similar to Mouse, just on a farm.
Just on a farm. Okay.
Great
and then,
book. But yeah, great for
Jessica's sister,
conversation,
how
too.
are you? Thanks for popping in. Jessica says it looks as. Can somebody read that one for me?
It looks as the reason why these books need to be banned is because it might make students feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress because of their race, sex, or. So the logical thing to do would be to erase history and avoid feeling emotions and learning how to deal with them. Good morning, Coach Papa, Johnsburg.
She was. Hey, my girl dropped 15 last night. Not against Johnsburg, but anyway, Jessica, you're a baller. You'd like that,
Right.
All right. So
Brianna says Animal Farm is a banned book.
Oh,
Shayna
Animal.
says so true, Coach. And then Jessica says, Kent, you have to read it. It's well written. And when you hear if you do an audiobook and you hear the accents and how they do it, yeah.
I really enjoy Green Eggs and Ham.
I do not like them, Sam. I am.
It's a great salesman's book or salesperson.
Could you in a box?
So
Could you?
so here's the why do they get banned, right? If it gets replaced with something equally as talented,
right,
is it banned, or have we said, you know what, let's expand our horizons, and we don't always have to just read To Kill a Mockingbird.
Right.
You can if you want to put that in there, but
what? Okay, so
but again,
what do they replace To Kill a Mockingbird with? I don't
Well,
know. If they
Green
put
eggs and ham.
Well, here's
Probably.
the question. Here's the question. Again, Dr. Seuss. We had a whole thing on that. Never mind. So the idea, I guess, is this: why do we read these classic books? It's for what? Is it to understand writing techniques and different styles of books, or are we trying to get something across socially?
Right. I thought it was to get things across socially, to make kids aware of how this is how things went, or this is a depiction of the situation. Now that you looked at it this way, do you now understand the horrors of the Holocaust? Do you now understand the horrors of what Stalin and these dictators were doing, perhaps, or how unfairly people in the South were treated, that one single allegation could lead to a man's life being taken? I thought that those would be things to make someone aware of.
Yeah.
We weren't reading these for entertainment, because then who sat on that board that said, okay, this is the entertainment book that we're going to read? It's horrible.
All right. So let's talk about this for a second.
Real quick. So then if I'm not allowed to read that because it's going to make me emotionally distraught, have you read Great Expectations? Great Expectations about an old lady teaching her granddaughter how to be a tarantula to men's hearts. And she kept her old husband locked in an attic and kept the skeleton. But that's more traumatizing.
Amen.
Right? That's sick. That's teaching people to play with hearts. And we have no problem teaching that. That's not banned. Shout out to Miss Roberts. She's a great English teacher. She's
great.
But the star person's name was Pip, and that's my nickname. So I like the book. But how then explain it? Because we're okay with making kids sad or whatever in this area, but not when it's going to actually educate about history.
So let me bring something up, and Jessica brings up a good point. Makes you think what we're the quote banning or keeping from us when we were being quote unquote taught
When we didn't wear seatbelts.
Okay, so let's
or helmets.
Let's again take a look at that. Okay, well, how do you boil a frog?
Slowly.
If you throw a frog into boiling water, it jumps out like pow, too hot. You put a frog in cold water and you bring it to a boil, it will boil itself to death. And mind I say, I like frog legs. Grew up on them. Absolutely love frog legs. Delicious.
But you don't put the whole frog in. You just
right. But so here's the deal. Let's take a look, and we've talked about this. Go and watch High on the Hog.
Right.
What we're being taught is from the Anglo. Okay, so you know what? We don't want people to know that this is the way it was, perhaps. So let's just start easing them out of this, so we can omit it. Right? How do we learn from history? Well, we learn from the history that we're taught. Right? So we go back to what we talked about last week with Whoopi Goldberg's comments.
Right.
Absolutely, the way that she was taught. Here's what it was. I swear, if I could grab my history book from high school and junior high, I swear there were no colored people in any of the pictures of the Holocaust.
Carver. George Washington.
I know. That's why I said it. Right? That's why I said it. Mom, don't get mad. I do this a lot of time for listeners.
I'm gonna get so many messages.
Right.
I can't.
Right. I do this sometimes just to rile people up, Mom. Stay with me, Jeff. All right, right. So they're absolutely. I can't.
Method to his madness.
There are no African Europeans there.
Afro-Germans.
Right? Whatever. Right. Yeah. Right. So
get
here,
you protection, man. I
right?
got cousins that watch this.
And I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that from my point of view.
Right.
I saw skinny white people.
Yeah, but there was the term Afro-Germans or any other anything else that was not in there.
The Amores, yeah.
Broadcasting from a random building in Elgin, Illinois.
Right?
Not
just don't you leave my silver mambo alone. Right. So you understand what I'm saying? So absolutely.
Right.
And again, she is might be scripted. You know what I'm saying?
But when you watch the footage, like the lady, it was the white lady who said it was white people doing it to white people. And Whoopi says
at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. But it wasn't.
And that was all about white supremacy, she said. Yeah.
Right.
But it wasn't mentioned that the white lady said it first. The only thing that was talked about is that Whoopi said it was white people doing it to white people.
It's all right. Yeah.
Why did we skip that part?
Why are we removing some of these books from education?
And
right.
Well, but let's go to the whole education thing. They've gone to this core curriculum that has really taken a lot of this out, right? We're going to teach science. We're going to teach that, and we'll make an elective philosophy. What's that word?
Philosophy.
That word.
Yep.
Course.
Easy for you to say.
That if you want to take this course, you can, but it's really not important. We just want you to learn how to add and do science and this stuff. And it's cheating our kids of being able to become a well-rounded individual. It's just making sure they can pass the ACT.
Right. If you know the difference between quartz and granite, you're set, but can't balance checkbook or anything important.
Right. Hey, listen,
Sports.
listen. The education system is now about how we get our test scores up to get funded.
Right.
Because then I can, right. So, I mean, it's not about education. It's about how we get those test scores up. Jess says, that's what I've learned through life is everything we're being taught is filtered through the agenda. To find the truth, one must intentionally seek and dig for it. It is being,
if it's being presented to you, I've learned turn around, and that's where the truth actually is, somewhere back here.
Okay. So I mean, here, and let's walk back here, right? Go watch High on the Hog. It's a Netflix documentary. It's absolutely fantastic right now. I'm going to go to Thomas Jefferson, right? Who his chef was a creator of macaroni and cheese.
Hercules.
Hercules was Washington.
Okay,
so Martha Washington has all these cookbooks. Martha Washington, she didn't do any cooking. All these recipes.
Martha used seasoning?
Yeah. Come on.
I grew up in
Hot
Crystal Lake.
sauce.
I grew up in Crystal Lake. No, she did not.
No.
No,
Right?
she did not.
But he absolutely loved this guy. Took him over and got him French classically trained.
Right.
His chef. And then brought him back to America, right? And he's like, all right, thanks, buddy. I'm gone. He's like, oh, no, you're not. Right?
Yeah.
But this guy created macaroni and cheese. This guy, he
so many
dishes. But yet, a good friend, Tom, I think he's on some sort of bill or something, Thomas Jefferson or whatever, right? I don't know. He's one of our founding father guys, right? One of the great creators, whatever, right?
You want a pen?
No.
But the idea,
Signer on the
but the idea is, you're a free man. Yeah, let's go over to French. I'll get you classically trained so I can eat well. And then he was like, yeah, you can't go anywhere unless I put too much money. I've invested too much. Oh, how many? Let's talk about that just in a today's society.
Right.
Right. Just in a today's society. Well, hey,
slave deal.
Hey,
We talked about it.
hey.
So
Jefferson
tells him, you can go, but you have to train up your brother, and then
I
own him.
Yep.
Okay.
So you'd be free, but you have to give me your little brother. Teach him how to make my mac and cheese. Don't throw the cheese on top after it's made.
That's
Mix
right.
the cheese
Mix it.
in.
Right.
Oh, this isn't Crystal Lake IHOP. Goodness.
Yep.
And so they were doing was it every 6 weeks?
Yep.
Every 6 weeks. So if you were up north for 6 weeks, you were free. So he would wait to the 5th week, 5th and a half.
No, it's 6 months. It was 6 months.
6
So
months.
5.5 months.
5.5 months.
Yeah.
He'd take him just below the line for 48
Take
hours.
him back south.
So they're basically hitting the reset button and
Yeah.
bring him back up north. Now I got you for another 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't teach that.
Right. So
Teach
that's
all
why I say.
history.
So now we start taking out these good conversations, these books to talk about how it was and how far we've come, perhaps, and how to have those conversations to it never happened. Right. I mean, here's what I love, and let's just kind of put this into a perspective. I Phil and Coach, you guys spend a lot of time with athletic coaches around the game of basketball.
Right.
Okay. Lucy is 12 years old. Okay. That means she was born in 2009. She'll be 13 this year. Okay. 2009. Wow. Right.
Right.
Now, there are coaches still trying to go, you got to play like Michael Jordan. They're like,
who?
The guy, the shoe? The what?
How do I play like this?
What?
Shoe?
What do you mean? Michael Jordan? Who? He's the fat guy that cries on the meme. That's what they know, right?
That's funny that's accurate.
But so you got to kind of think of this and put things into perspective, right? Now, if you want somebody to play like Michael Jordan, here, let's sit down and watch these tapes.
Right.
Let's watch his brother play. Right. Not a big fan. Right.
What?
That's just
I
me.
saw highlights yesterday that just, man.
Just ignore him.
Right.
That will bring tension
Right.
into your world having this discussion.
You want civil tension? Let's talk about who's the greatest.
Pete Maravich.
He was.
Ooh,
He was good.
debatably, yeah.
Yeah.
He was good. But way to go with the white guy. You know.
Okay, Larry Bird. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but even whiter. You just went from what is that? 50 Shades of White, not 50 Shades of Gray.
Yeah, I feel like at least Pete was invited to the picnic.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is we have to be able to go back and show all of this. Now, I absolutely love Blackish, the TV show, right? Because they're brilliant at delivering a message in a comedic way, right? And of course Anthony, he does such a great job, and he plays the part, it's fun. But they said something on one of their most recent episodes about African Americans is that African Americans can't be good. In order for them to get recognized anywhere, they have to be the best. Mm-hmm. Everything that they do, they can't just go. You're going to want to hire. You want to hire Phil. He's good, right? He's good at what he does. Yeah. It's literally the weight that they wear on their shoulders as athletes, as business people, as who it is, African Americans. They can't be. You can't be just good. You have to be the best. You have to be able to say, look how much better I am to get noticed and treated, right?
I actually had this conversation with a high school coach.
Yeah.
Freshman year, I think you know the guy. And I went from lots of playing time in varsity to down a little bit and then playing all the JV, like the whole JV. And he's like, and I was like, what happened, right? I was like, I'm just as good as this kid. And he looks at me straight. He goes, if you and a white kid are the same, I have to go with him. Yeah. It can't be close.
Yeah.
If he's averaging 7, you have to average 12 rebounds. If he's averaging 10, you have to average 15. Otherwise, with this crowd and these parents, I have to explain it to them and the AD.
And he told you that
to my face as a 14-year-old. It can't be close.
Okay.
He kept his, and I love him to, it can't be close. But the thing is, he was legit getting messages. Why is this kid playing over my
alumni,
kid?
Whatever. Mm-hmm.
We have 3 kids who have come through this program. So listen, in this situation, it can't be close. If you want to be on the floor, you have to have this much more in all categories.
I've coached for over 45 years. I've coached over 5,000 athletes. And I don't know, maybe somewhere back here, but I have never seen skin color. I have seen athletic performance. And athletic performance is what you as a coach should be doing. Right. And if you're reacting to the crowd, or you're reacting to parents, if it was me and a parent told me that, you would have never sat down. You would have been in that game 100% of the time. Right. I had a guy come to me. He said, my son's the best player on your team. I said, I do. He says, why isn't he starting? He says, because he's a jerk in practice, and I'm not going to reward that type of behavior. Right. And when he got himself straightened out, he eventually became an all-state player, which he had that potential, but he needed the characteristics out into him. I'd hunt that guy down.
Yeah. So Shane says that's so wrong. Yeah. But again, these are things that were never said to Kent Jones. Right. They always just said, hey, Kent, you're not Magic Johnson. Try not to play like that.
Okay. So with the coach, right? Yes, I feel like he could have whatever. And he explained, it wasn't like I sat the bench, whatever, but it was like, what happened? He's yes in the wrong, but the parents feel comfortable. The community feels comfortable that they can just flat out say, why is this black kid playing over mine?
And I think one of the other mistakes I feel is he's talking to a 14-year-old boy as if the 14-year-old boy is going to understand from an adult perspective, right? He's talking to you like you're a man when you're not. I look at these kids who are playing today and they're built like a man, but they're still
That ain't
still
that ain't the
kids.
first time you heard that.
Yeah, I'm
No.
from Florida.
That ain't the first time you heard that.
I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm from, we've got family in Georgia, so this is, I get it, but like, I thought I was up north. I thought we were away from this.
Yeah. I mean, when he came back at 5 years old because he was playing outside and he said that same story, was his family's like, yeah, get used to it, buddy.
Yeah,
It's life.
this is what it is.
Yeah.
What is the difference between a complete idiot and a racist? What other pearls of wisdom did he give? What other colors here? Lord, Shayna says that.
Yep.
Anna Marie Hawk says people do not believe things like this exist. That's why we have to teach them.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Yeah.
Anna Marie,
Yeah.
share this video with all your friends.
And hey,
I'm sure as a mom, she's done that. She said,
Yeah.
this is my son.
don't get mad at me. Sometimes I play a part. Got to do that to create civil tension. And that's the bizarre, interestingly bizarre thing. And when you can walk through life and never hear that, right now, in our case, and in my case, I won't necessarily say yours, but in a white person's case, it then becomes down to, well, yeah, you're good, but their dad's an alumni and gives a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's still the same move. Yeah,
Same move. Right? And you're like, but a white guy goes, yeah, all right, I guess. I get it.
Like what other pros did he give me? I see the bad as far as like he should have, stood up or whatever. At least he told me what it was, though.
Yeah,
that's true.
You have to understand, we're not always on the inside of the joke.
Right.
At least the person was like, this is why this is like that. This is what's going on. This person who's above me is telling me that they're right in the situation. So I have to appease this person if I want to keep my job. At least he's being transparent.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just you're not hired or you don't qualify and no one's telling you the whole story. So maybe too young for the transparency, but at least knowing what it was motivated me for bet. Then it's
Did you become a better player?
Because in my mind, it will never be close again.
Yeah.
It will never be close again.
Yeah.
And so when you looked at the stat line in that era, it didn't matter who it was. Fine. I'm gonna make it if that's how we're playing, bet.
Right.
Here's a line in the
sand. That's how we're
playing.
Bet it will not be close. And if you were from a different school and you're the star player, stat for stat, it won't be close.
Well, and that's to Anne Marie's point that's exactly what we have said on this show. I grew up on the Mississippi River. I can jump in a river and swim and be happy. The people who grew up on the Nile go, what is this fool doing? Get out the water. Right?
Eating.
They're going to look at the Mississippi like, they're going to look at the Mississippi like, fool, get out. Right? That's their perspective. Right? You're going to get eaten by a big snake or something else. Piranha, whatever the case may be. Right? And so when I go and they see people boating and having fun on the Mississippi, they're like, y'all crazy. Right? Now, we get over onto the Nile and we're like, woohoo, let's jump in. They're like, You're like, what are you talking about, man? I grew up on the Mississippi. I can say this is just a river.
We have different predators that you don't have over here.
Yeah. So
we have mosquitoes.
So it comes down. It comes down to. It really comes down to experiencing what you've done. Now the sad thing is, being a very Anglo built country, is we don't feel that. Right? Again, we've talked about the same story to nausea, right? About, just police brutality. They deserve it. He was a criminal anyway, right? Well, he had the right to defend himself. So the interesting thing is,
he felt threatened from a 14-year-old.
we come to this with a lot of naivety. We come to this issue with a lot of unknowing, and I say it's like watching a magician with sleight of hand. That can't be true. Can't
do that again. I don't
believe it. Right, and again, just listen, just don't go to Minneapolis. Stay out of Minneapolis.
It happened again.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation. Someone said like they shot him because he reached for a weapon, as one would do.
Just this past week, folks. We're not rehashing.
Yeah,
anything.
this
was
isn't old stuff.
This past week.
But it was like he reached for a weapon in his own home, in a situation where most people, someone breaking into your home,
Wasn't even his house. So he's at his buddy's place crashing.
Yeah, but if you're in Papa's house and both of you are carriers,
the door gets kicked
and you hear boom,
and just a bunch of noise. You're dead asleep, wrapped up, dead asleep. He was covered up, crashed.
I have a step-grandfather, who's my grandfather in Texas. Break into a Texan's home.
Now,
they are waiting for you to break into a Texan's home.
Let's go back. You hear the door get kicked in, you got a chance. They didn't. They used the key. Push open quietly and then come in. Police, SWAT! Pop, pop, pop. What? No warning of gun. They said everything that they were supposed to. Police warrant. They're just screaming. So you don't hear a door get kicked in. You don't hear a window crash.
Right.
Next thing you know, there's lights and noises everywhere. You have a registered firearm. It is legal. It is yours legally.
Right.
And somebody's rushing into my house. I'm reaching for a baseball bat, a knife, whatever. And all I hear is just noise, whatever, right? And then it was pop, 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 dead guy. Right? In a city that, very difficult to be a police officer in right now.
A lot of pressure in that.
A lot of pressure. But knowing that there's that pressure.
Right.
All right. We're going to have people who say, hey, he felt threatened or whatever. You didn't know what the threat was. Absolutely correct. Right. But at the same time, there was 6, 8 SWAT members that rolled up in there into a little apartment, right? I mean, it was so.
I'm guessing with vests on and
vest, lights,
shields.
Yeah, I mean they were coming in loaded for bear. Now, wasn't even the guy that they were looking for. Again, wrong place, wrong time. That's what's being said, right? Oh, well, wrong place, wrong time. They were going in looking for a homicide. A guy who was quote unquote up on homicide charges. Right. Oh, wrong place, wrong time. Why would you have hung out with him? I don't know what you do. I don't know how many dead bodies you have in your basement. We don't talk about that.
Would you like to?
No. No. Right? We don't talk about that, right?
That's the last thing I need is to be an accomplice in McHenry.
And again, this kind of has really nothing. Is it coincidental or not? I don't know. Right? But it's a no-knock. There's some weird things going on there. But an innocent human being, an innocent African American.
When the fit hit the shan, a year and so ago, we talked about the body cams because the body cams would eliminate the gray area.
Yeah, right.
Did it or didn't? Was it necessary? Was it unnecessary?
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, when there's a cam, we kind of see how things are ran.
And there were cams.
And
they showed this right up on the news, bro.
Right up on the news. Now, to tie this into last week's conversation, are you familiar with last week's conversation about Whoopi Goldberg and kind of what happened?
Yes.
Okay. So Whoopi got ridiculed because Whoopi said it was not about race. It's not about race. What Whoopi said. Right. And to tell someone it's not about race was what? Rude, ignorant, right? Yeah. You have to understand as an African American in this country, every time we talked about police brutality and we said they shot him so quick because he was a black dude, what response did we receive?
Yeah, he deserves.
It's not about race. It's just one bad person,
wrong place, wrong time,
doing something to another bad person. But when Whoopi Goldberg says the same things,
very different.
She's a horrible, ignorant individual to say the things that whites say to minorities every time police kills a black kid.
I don't think that's the reason that she's that way. Just that
Well,
one line.
I'm just saying,
No.
but that one
Whoopi,
line,
thanks for tuning
that
in.
one line was enough.
And you're
that
welcome,
she's
Whoopi. You're welcome to come on the show with us.
She's
and
ignorant.
let's bridge
She's
that
wrong.
tension.
She's insensitive to the fact. How could you just belittle the?
Yeah.
Well,
I hear
Whoopi,
you.
you've got some free time right now, so why don't you come on Civil Tension?
We know you're listening.
Come
We
on
absolutely.
down with
So
your
what
friend
does
Whoopi.
Shayna say there?
Shayna,
Personal witness.
Personal witness holds much more value for me. Thanks for sharing. He must really have liked you to be so brutally honest. A gift in a way. Did it just confirm what you couldn't articulate at the time? Did you tell your mom when it happened?
Yeah, she knew.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in the comment section above you on that one and below you on the one before. But she knew. And it's kind of just like, all right, well, we know where we live. It's Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
We understand that. So, okay, step up and play ball. It's really,
And what's it?
we couldn't play the victim about it.
They were what? Swatted live.
It's just a situation.
Now she switches over to the Milwaukee or the Minneapolis case. I was watching a podcast where they were swatted live. It's a scary situation.
Yeah. Oh, and listen, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you're crashed, right? I sleep good.
Right.
I do.
Knocked.
But listen, right? But listen, not anymore. I got a CPAP. That's why, bro. You'd like, yeah.
Me too.
I kept him up many nights on several
Sal.
adventures. Oh, bro, that brother.
I have a guy. Like sorry, real quick, guys. One of the people woke up at 1 a.m. and had a Bible. And I was like, Marcus, what's wrong? He's like, nah, bro, that's not normal. He was about to perform an exorcism.
Oh, man.
Because the way that this dude was snoring couldn't have been normal.
It is, right?
We were in Germany in a barracks, and there's 100 guys in the barracks, and the only separation was a poncho liner between the officers and the enlisted.
No.
And the next day, the first sergeant said, "We got together and we're buying you a motel room. You're not sleeping in our barracks."
That's you?
anymore." Oh yeah, I was world class snoring. Check.
All right.
Back.
Best story.
Well, welcome. You're caught in the net here with Civil Tension.
That's right. So the interesting thing is, I don't even think it's race anymore. I think it's just color, right? And here's what I mean in America. Now, here's what I want you to understand. I've got 2 nephews who are South Asian, right? That my brother adopted, right? They make you look light skinned.
I was really trying to figure out how you got to. So okay,
right? And they get treated very, very differently,
right?
Because of the color of their skin. Now they don't sound like your taxi driver or your 7-Eleven owner. You know, they're not all. You know,
right?
Because they were adopted when they were,
right.
Before they were 5 years old, right? So to listen to what comes out, much like you, if people are out there listening on the radio, they don't hear what they would what is tab
6'5" African American.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Right.
Hoodie.
What how the media and Hollywood has portrayed African Americans, right?
I do that so people can understand you can wear a hoodie and still be educated, because apparently if you're black you can't do that. So I do that on purpose.
Nor should you jog in the middle of the day. Never.
Ooh.
Never.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Or sleep on a friend's couch.
Georgia. All right. So the interesting thing is, I think it's color. You look different from me.
Right.
So right now I'm threatened because you're different than me. Right. You take a look. Oh, well, that person looks like a Taliban.
Right.
Right. Not even from the area. Right. What do you mean?
Guy from Rolling Meadows?
What do you mean? What do you mean
It was a 7-Eleven. What are you talking about?
What do you mean you are Afro-Brazilian? What? Right?
But we don't want to learn these things even exist.
Right. So because you are a different color, shade of skin, I'm now threatened.
Yep.
Right? I don't even care about your race.
Right.
Right? I don't. You're different from me. I feel threatened because that's what I've been taught to be.
Well, I look in the mirror and I see me, and I know how I think, act, and feel. And when I look at you, I see you very similar. So you must think, act, and feel the way I do. But I look at you and I'm like,
That's what we've been educated to.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
Be afraid.
Listen. Lewis Clegg, and I'll bring him up. Great guy, and he served America incredibly. Broke my nose as a kid. Right? African American. Now, did I deserve to get my nose broken?
Yep.
Right? But I don't walk by every African American thinking you're going to punch me in the nose now, right? When literally, perhaps I should from my history, right? But what happened was I go, yeah, I deserved it, right? Pow, broke my nose. And today, Facebook friends, good. I mean, he's down on he's a border security guy.
Look,
right?
Shana, we
Army
need
guy.
some clarity here. You say I'm going to do that to my husband.
The motel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was worried she's
Yeah.
going to smack him in the nose.
Right. So, but it's a story that was only told once. It's not a repetitive story, the punch in the nose. Okay. So, what we're trying to say here is take a look at the repetitive story that is told by thousands and thousands and decades of African Americans.
Right.
Okay. And the story, yet we learn from history, bullshit. It continues.
Yep.
It continues. Now, if we're learning from history how to treat people poorly, hey,
Yeah.
we're batting 1,000.
AP classes in
If you understand what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? So now, okay, and hopefully I'm gonna reach out to him. Hopefully we can get a retired Cook County sheriff with us. He was one of my college teammates, and I hope we can talk him into it because being retired, perhaps we can break the code of silence. Now, David is African American, right? So he's not bringing in a white guy, right? So it'll be interesting, again, right, to get that perspective. But the idea is, if we learn from history, we learn from history that's been taught, right, and experienced. I have never experienced being pulled over and having 3 squads, 10 squads, drawn guns at all. There's one time where I woke up at 6 a.m. on the knock on the door, and there are 3 sheriffs. One at the door, one over here with his hand on his gun, and you know, because there was a domestic disturbance that they thought my daughter was involved in, to which I'm like, what? You know, I'm like, well, her car's here. She should be here. Let me go get her.
Right.
What the hell did you do? Why are there 3 sheriffs and 2 of them ready to pull guns? You know, so I understand the brightness. That, you know, But if that happened every time I got pulled over or stopped or saw sirens, that's bad.
Yeah.
Right. So we do learn from history. We're just not learning the right stuff from history. Perhaps.
The thing is, like, listening to your story, you're like, I actually had my nose broken by an African American. Yet when I walk by African Americans, I don't think they're probably going to break my nose. Yet, how many people clutch their nose when an African American walks by and they don't even have a broken nose story?
I usually just check my watch.
Okay,
Still got it.
Still got it. Good. Okay.
Is my cam still on?
But people who have never had a terrible experience or a poor experience or any experience from African Americans will walk to the other side of the sidewalk, will clutch their purse, will lock their door, their car door, or anything like that, or get nervous if I walk into the Panera Bread with them.
Right. Now, listen. Now, I don't, because look, I got my donkey rope on. I mean, I you know, I'm as smooth as creamy peanut butter.
Right.
So that's all we got to worry about, right? Is and usually they're like, all right. Right. But you're right. And now it's not just with African Americans. And now it's with Latinos. Whoa.
Latinos,
Arabs. Oh my gosh, yeah.
On the flip side of that, I was at the Armory. I was in the National Guard in Chicago at Humboldt Park.
Right.
And we'd played some basketball. Some of the guys are like, sir, you got to come play in the street with. So I went down to a park with them. And I was the only even kind of light skin anywhere in the area. And we owned the court for like 4 hours.
Nice.
And they're like, all right, sir, we'll see you in the morning. I'm like, no, you are walking me home. I walked here with you. I just beat up on your, this. And now, no, I'm not walking home by myself. I'm either sleeping at your house or you're taking me back to the Armory, because I was, on the court. It was great. I was scared.
Why were
my
you
life.
scared?
Why? Because I'm a farm boy from Western Nebraska, stuck in the streets of Chicago.
Big bad.
But look, and not saying that you're wrong. That story makes sense. But if I go to play on the parks in McHenry, right, when you go right down 31,
Yep.
and
Yeah, right.
side where they have the,
Nice
the Northwestern
sports.
and all, and I'm afraid to walk anywhere because I'm in McHenry. People are like, well, why? Because I'm in McHenry. Ask any minority in the area if they would want to walk in the evening through McHenry. No, we do not.
Really?
For the same same reason. But yours is rational because it's Chicago, of course.
It doesn't matter what your skin is.
But to us, it's McHenry. Like, that's the Shadowlands. You must
Yeah.
never go there.
2 cups of coffee.
Sundown.
You better take care if I find you.
So then, with the book situation.
Way to bring it back. Look at
Yeah,
that.
we're gonna cover
That's
it.
why
We're
he's
gonna
a professional.
We're gonna cover this with the book situation. And it was kind of brought up that the way that we're taught is, and we said this a few times, you guys are the drug dealers, you guys are the thugs, you guys are the savages, you guys are the terrorists, you guys are the sweatshop people.
Thank you for verifying that for us.
No problem. But we're the white saviors. But now we have these books that we will kill our own. Lord of the Flies. We have been capable of this. Mouse. We've been capable of that. Animal Farm. We've been capable of these things. Accusations that lead to a man's life in danger. To Kill a Mockingbird. We look just as bad as you guys look. Let's throw these away. Let's take this off. This is because it'd be very easy to be like, this is why I get profiled.
But let's blame it on nudity.
This is why I get profiled. This is why this is okay. This is why it's fine for you to be afraid. But if I'm over here and we're being fair, y'all jumped a kid on the island. You accuse a person you had no business accusing. Y'all did your bodies and dropping people from planes
and mouse nipples.
Yeah. But nobody in Compton drops nobody from planes. We've never gasoline to nobody. This looks just as bad. No. That's got to go. We can't have that.
Right. Let's blame it on the N-word.
Let's blame it on the N-word. Let's
And
blame it on the
nudity.
mouse nipples.
That's it.
Whatever we got to do.
Nipples.
Whatever we
Nipples
gotta
is
do.
the N-word.
We can't have
Let's
this
not blame
getting
it on-
out.
Let's not blame it on our mass genocide.
Because if our mass genocide gets compared to the crime rate in Chicago, that we can't run the play no more. We can't say that, well, we do this because you guys are bad.
Right.
Shana's got a big one here. Some of it is evolution to be suspect of the unfamiliar. Cats with cucumbers, for instance. I think that's why sometimes we use the phrase, I don't mean you, when we separate them from the offending or the offended. Once we become assured that someone isn't a threat, settle down. So much is cause and effect, and to project the reason why someone clutches the pearls seems wrong.
Yeah, but okay, so what I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shana, what that means is she would clutch her purse, hypothetically, if another black person walked
Not
by,
you.
but not me, because
Right.
I'm one of the good ones. Well, she still did it if a black person, and I'm still on that team.
Yeah.
I was like, well, all old bald white guys. Well, not you, Kent.
I think you're one of the great ones, Phil.
Oh, thanks, man. I
But you identify as a white guy.
I do for tax purposes.
I go by Philip.
I go by Philip.
That's it. So it's not black or white. It's being a minority in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Just to me.
Just to me.
Right. So again, to your point, is why we're creating perhaps an issue to be accepted. Say, well, you know what? It's not good that the N-word's in there. When really it's like, oh boy, this makes us look really bad.
Right.
Tell me about the bunnies, George.
Think about if there was an accusation story of any minority where this person has a claim against a person of whatever, and the whole town is like, he's guilty, and we're reading To Kill a Mockingbird. That makes it real easy to be like, doesn't this look like what's going on today, right now?
Well, any civil rights. Take a look at how we've learned that. Hey, here's what we know. Y'all hooked arms, walked across the bridge, and we drowned. We waterboarded all of you.
It'd be real bad if they found out
But-
most of those people were kids.
Yeah.
right?
The pictures
But
show the adults.
we
A lot
don't
of those
talk-
are the kids at school.
What we don't teach is the person holding the hose.
But again, we
You
don't.
understand what I'm saying?
We don't teach that we hosed and seek dogs on kids.
Children.
Elementary
Children.
and middle school kids. Now we'll take the picture to show Phil,
Right.
but little Marcus with his lunchbox with the German Shepherd in his arm. No, because then we look just as.
Yeah, they're good. They're good till they're adults. It's adults when they screw up.
That's where
Children.
Trey, when he was running at Glacier Ridge, and the police had to was what, and I'm like, man, it's cute when he's a 5th grader.
Yeah.
But what if he goes to train because he's #1 quarterback in the nation?
Okay.
What when he trains and he's 15, and now he's 6'3", 6'4"? Is he a threat all of a sudden?
Right.
When he's doing the same thing he's done since he was a 5th grader?
Right.
Like all of a sudden you got to run 3 miles, but just don't run too early. Don't run too late.
Don't run too
Run in a
fast.
group.
That's right. That's right. All right, we're on the backside of this.
Wow.
Absolutely love everybody. What's the best way to solve? How do we get there? You know what? We're going to share that with you in the upcoming weeks because we're going to have Dr. Freeman on here. We're going to have some people who are in the process of the solve. Right. And that's going to be really, really cool. And these guys are awesome. Now, when we say that, I want you to understand, Dr. Freeman looks like me, not like Phil.
Yeah.
Right. So this is
Bald
gonna be
with a beard.
really, really, really cool.
His glasses are sharp.
Yeah. We've been guided to conclusions by the absolutely, exactly right. So listen, everybody, we can't thank you enough for joining. Everybody's input is absolutely fantastic, and this is how we get better, and this is how we bridge civil tension.
Yes, sir.
But if you want answers on how we cure this, stick around in the next couple of weeks because we're really going to dive into it. I'm reading a book right now, How to Be an Anti-Racist. Right, it's a very, very interesting book. It's made me think a lot, and it's very, it's kind of interesting. I'm not through it. It's one that I'm probably going to go through twice before I start talking about it. But it's a very, very interesting, and I learned a lot about race that I had no idea about.
Okay.
Right, that I had no idea about.
I'm gonna check it out.
And Marie, I want to give a shout out to you for creating such a great individual sitting here. So thank you, ma'am.
That's
Thank you,
it.
Coach.
All right,
Thank you,
everybody.
Coach.
Come back at come back at about 1:00 for the Neighborhood Pulse. Come back at 3 for In the Know with Steph and Joe. Come back tomorrow. We've got so many good things. Like and follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. We're pushing for 1,000. Share us. Get out there. And anybody, if you have topics on anything that makes civil tension, let us know.
Was that Wisconsin? Oh, geez.
Oh,
Oh, dear.
Oh, hey there. Hey, yeah. All right, everybody. Be good to one another, and we'll see you.
Oh, dear.
That was oh geez.